Du lyssnar på Paraply.
Som idag kommer att heta Umbrella, för idag har vi en Nya Zeeländsk gäst. Och vid min sida idag kommer jag ha Pernilla och sen August Chadwick heter han. Och ni som inte förstår engelska, tyvärr, det här kommer bli ett avsnitt på engelska. So we say hello to August Chadwick and welcome to Umbrella.
Hey guys, good to be here and yeah, exciting.
Tell us something a little bit of yourself. Shoot.
Yeah, so I guess I'm from New Zealand. That's one thing. And then I've come to Sweden originally to play rugby, and then I've met a Swedish girl and now I'm stuck, so go Sweden.
And how long have you been in Sweden?
I've been in Sweden for 3 years now, 3.5 years I think, so yep, time flies.
Can you tell us a little bit about your background? Why rugby and...
Okay, yeah, so pretty much in New Zealand, we just either play rugby or you do farming. That's it for us. So basically everyone back home just plays rugby. It's our number one sport. And then I was really lucky to pick up a contract to go play in France. So I left New Zealand to go on a holiday, really. Came to France and then I played there for a little bit and then ended up in Sweden. So, but rugby is all we do back home. It's our number one sport and we do that really well. So
you like always played rugby?
Yeah,
like
from you
age,
start playing. Yeah. You start playing when you're 5.
Right.
And then it's not full contact, so it's not like big tackles, and then by the time you're 8 years old, it's full contact where it's all go, and then everyone plays it from when you're 5 through school, secondary school, university, and so it's just what we do.
Do you feel that is something every kid are meant to be down in New Zealand, or it free will? Because if it's a sport is used in a country, it often means that everyone do it. Or for you, how was it? Do you want to do it?
Yeah, well, see, our number one team is the All Blacks. Yes. So a lot
in
of
the world,
in the world,
right?
Yeah.
Right.
And for the who doesn't know what All Blacks is, tell us.
So it's just our national team. So it's the same as having the Swedish men's football team or women's team,
right.
But it's just our number one team, and we've just been nicknamed the All Blacks because they just wear our uniform is just all black.
Oh.
So, but for us, it's you just play it because everyone plays it.
Yeah.
Right.
So back home, they're really pushing things like. Parents shouldn't be shouting at their kids when they're 5 or 6 or 7, and the government really pushes the fact that rugby should be fun, and you play it because you just want to have fun with your friends. So that's what I played because I'm like, oh, they're playing, so I can play. It's not like you have to play. It's not the government says you have to do this. It's just something that everyone does, and because you play it with your friends, you just play it for fun first off, and then it turns professional if you're lucky.
Pernie, have you a question?
No, I'm just fascinated how you ended up in Sweden. But like playing rugby, correct?
Yeah, so I was in France, playing there for 5 years, and then I'd met a rugby player from Enköping, Robin Franson, in England, and then I decided to retire when I was just before Sweden. My body was a bit sore and taking some punishment, so we were just talking on Facebook, and Robin said, come to Sweden for a summer. You can drink cider and see another world.
Yeah,
I was like, why not? So originally I was meant to come here for 4 months.
Mm-hmm.
So I was meant to come here in May and then leave 4 months after, or 5 months, something like that. But then I got injured. I ruptured my Achilles tendon.
All right.
So it just snapped, and then I couldn't travel.
So you
I
get
was
stuck there.
So I was stuck, and then that's when I met my partner Ida, and then, yep.
But are you playing now?
Yep. So I've this year I've just retired, completely stopped. Busy with family, and my body's just can't handle it anymore. But last year I helped out a little bit with the coaching, and then the year before that was coaching. So, but now it's just no time and time to move on. Too old for it.
Yeah. And it feels okay. Is that like?
Yeah. No. To me, it's
Yeah.
I don't mind at all. I'm happy. It's time to.
So now your kids can.
Yeah. Hopefully, but I want to try and I want my kids to play ice hockey. You get more money if you can go professional.
No money in rugby.
Not. I mean,
not here.
Not here. And then I think in New Zealand there's a stat of maybe 2%, or maybe it's gone up a little bit. 2% make an actual living where they can retire.
Yeah.
So out of 300,000 players, only 2% make a livable wage.
Yeah.
Because it's still a minority sport. It's not.
In the world,
in the world.
Yeah, you're right.
I have seen the dance, the black...
The haka.
The haka.
Yeah.
Can you tell us how did it start? Or you know that?
So originally it's so the Māori culture, that's the natives of New Zealand, when they go to war, they do a haka. It's I guess it's something to... you're about to go into battle, so you've got to get yourself worked up. And then this particular haka was done by Rotaba, I think his name was. And basically it's telling the story of him running away from another chief, and this chief is chasing him down because he went with his daughter. So this chief was chasing this other chief, and he's just hiding. So he's just saying, like, is there going to be life or death, something like that. And then the All Blacks just happened to pick it up, and they've just made it famous, the kamati.
So it's all, I never understood this. So haka dance is different, every dance is different?
Yep.
Oh,
so traditionally, it's each tribe, back home they call it pa. So it's each village, I guess. So it's very tribal, and so each one is different, talking about like what's important to them, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
Would you say the person who didn't know about haka and live in New Zealand is not clever? I think, but because I think it's a very huge thing in New Zealand.
Yeah.
I mean,
part of the culture.
Part of the culture.
Yeah. Like rugby.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's just become a hand-in-hand thing. Like it's, especially overseas, it's All Blacks, haka, New Zealand. That's what they and now since Adidas is the main sponsor for the All Blacks, it's a global company, and they push that tribal thing, that so that's why it's become more famous now. It's because of Adidas pushing it.
Yeah, because we not Googled it, we looked it up on YouTube. It's very impressive.
Yeah.
It's very, very
I get
impressive.
very fascinated.
Fascinating.
Frightened first, and then because I saw the play from the other side. It seems very terrified. I didn't want to stand there any day.
The clip we were watching was from 2012, I think. It was some guys in green that were
Ireland.
playing. And they did actually look terrified.
Yeah, well, that's the part of it. It's it's a laying a challenge. So it's like going to war. That's what I mean. Like rugby in New Zealand is so, it's not like in Sweden. It's very like Sweden, and then sport is something different. New Zealand is almost very American, where sport and culture are very intertwined. They're very much together. Not so much sport, but rugby for us.
Right.
So there's that culture thing. Is like, you're going into battle, you're going into war, and things like that. So. And
also, no one can beat you, right? I mean, you're the best.
Yeah. So we've got, I think, the All Blacks actually in sports or professional sports, amongst all sports, has the highest winning rate. It's like 82%.
It's a pretty good winning streak.
Yeah. So it's
No competition from anyone.
No,
Australia maybe, or
nah? No, like England now is pretty good.
Right.
France? France always been. They do upsets. They're not consistent, but they can beat. They beat the All Blacks quite a few times, and then like South Africa. So out of the entire world, New Zealand, South Africa, Wales, and a lot of countries in the South Pacific, rugby is the number one sport. So there's only maybe about 8 countries in the world where it's not football, it's not ice hockey, it's rugby. But other countries like England, obviously soccer is their number one sport. For us, it's rugby.
What would you say when you start with rugby? Would you say what was your achievement with playing rugby? Were it just being fun at the beginning, of course, but when you get 20 and up, you probably think, oh, I'm gonna be very good, or it's enough. What was your achievement with playing?
Like for me, it was always playing with friends.
Right.
Like even when I was 18 or in college, secondary school, for me it was just all about having fun with my friends. But that's the same with any sport. As soon as you start not having fun, because then going to training every day becomes becomes a hassle. But if it's enjoyable with friends, and it's nice.
Right.
I have a question I have thinking about for a while. Have you always been supporting when you're traveling around the world? Because from New Zealand to France is a pretty big step.
Yeah, massive.
Did you get to support all the way from your family and friends?
I think my mum was probably happy that I left. So when I left, my parents, my family, it's a great chance to go see the world for free. Travel, so they were really supportive. But I've been away now because I left in 2006. What's that?
Is it 12 years ago,
11,
I think.
12, yeah. So I've been away from New Zealand for that long. So
do you miss it? The culture? The weather you should miss.
So I've had 2-3 winters here, and when it's winter in the north, it's summer in the south. So that's always
on the
different.
islands, right?
Yeah. In terms of like in Europe it's winter, and then because it's the opposite. So in the northern hemisphere it's winter, like now, cold, and in the southern hemisphere it's hot. So I miss that because all my friends back home are going to the beach and having barbecues, and I'm freezing at -17.
But now you have children, so it means that you get a lot of heat and fan here. But your girlfriend, I don't know if you want to speak. Is she a rugby player? Or?
No, well, she actually played when she was, I think, 16, 17, when she was a teenager, and then she just stopped playing. So I didn't know this at the time, and then when we met up, she was, "Oh, you play rugby?" I was like, "Oh, yeah, a little bit." And she's like, "Oh, I played rugby too." I was like, "What?" But just inshiping I think it's one of the top 3 or 4 sports in terms of, it's like a lot of people know inshiping for rugby before because they were the best in Sweden for about 10 years, I guess.
But rugby is in Enköping is one of the highest sports in division. Football we have in the 4th or 5th division, but rugby is the highest, aren't I right?
Yeah. So a couple of years ago they went down, but the club was changing. It was a lot of people leaving the club. They've been with the club for so long, so they went down. But now they're back up at the top level, so it's good for a small town.
How's the interest in Sweden for rugby?
It's growing.
Yeah.
It's growing a lot. I mean, it's never gonna be as popular as handball or football or ice hockey.
Right.
But it is
okay.
getting much but rugby in terms of the globe in the world is getting more popular. Just getting more advertising and so
I mean, it's a good game. I mean, it's a good kind of sport too, because you don't need, or do you need a lot of
nope. So
No?
it's just
shorts,
shorts,
the shoes, and the
t-shirt, shoes ready to go.
Right.
So it's
and no pads,
no,
like
but you
no
can
shoulder.
you can
I mean,
wear pads if you want,
Yeah.
but they can't be too thick.
Ah.
But you can wear pads and wear a head protection and a
Is that a choice? Can you choose?
yeah you can choose that.
Yeah.
But the one thing you have to have is a mouth guard.
Ah.
But that helps
For the
protect-
teeth.
and it helps with concussion because the vibration, if you get hit on the jaw, your vibration goes through your teeth and into your brain. That's where it shocks it. That's why boxers have mouth guards, because
Right.
it stops the vibration going through.
All right.
That's your teeth, and plus to look after your teeth, I guess.
If you say overall, beside All Blacks, because they are pretty good, the bottom and the top in the world, is it a big difference?
Yep.
Or
Massive.
Yes. All right.
Massive.
But that should be a bad thing for the sport, or aren't I wrong?
Yep.
Right. I mean,
It all just comes down to money.
oh, of course.
Say like England, France. So the top teams right now is All Blacks, England, France, Wales, South Africa, and Australia. So those are generally the teams that sort of, but they change around, and they've got money. New Zealand, not so much money, but still we have enough. But teams like in the South Pacific, Samoa, Tonga, Argentina, teams like that, to run a professional team, you need money.
Of course.
So that's a big problem in rugby. But the International Rugby Union is giving a lot of money to they call it the second tier. So the teams are like, out of the top 10, they give them money to try and help them.
I had a question for you. Australia and New Zealand is pretty close.
Oh.
Let us hear about the friendly labor.
I don't know. It's
Why? What I have been hearing hockey ways, the near city. But tell us, how is the friendly neighborhood?
If there's one team, we hate to lose to, it's definitely Australia, just because they're our neighbour, and that's natural, of course. It's like Canada and America,
Yes.
So for us,
Always compare.
Sweden, Finland, in hockey.
Finland, yeah. So it's that mentality, and then for us, it's always, because Australia is obviously the bigger country. Economically, it's bigger as well. So we're always like New Zealand, as we always say, we're the underdog. But Australia is struggling now because then they haven't got enough numbers to play. Because they've got other sports as well that take players,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And that's one of the things for us back home is because rugby's our number one sport, it takes the best athletes. Where like in Sweden is football, handball, ice hockey, they can take the best athletes and spread them around. So.
Right.
Is rugby is that the Olympic game?
Yep, sevens. So there's rugby 15s, which is 15 players each side. So it's 30 players playing at one time. And then there's rugby sevens, which is 7 players on a team, 14 playing at one time. That's the Olympic.
Olympic.
7 players?
7 players.
That's Olympics.
Yep.
But when you play, that's
It's 15, yeah.
Why is it that? It seems a pretty wrong way.
Yeah, it's just because rugby, I don't know, for me personally, like, because we have our own World Cup, so I don't think we need to have something every 4 years where another sport like curling, for them the Olympics is almost the pinnacle, where for us it's the World Cup is
the hugest thing to win.
For us. So we have a World Cup. It's the same as when football. Like, I don't think many people will remember who won the gold medal the last Summer Olympics, because it's the soccer World Cup is the number one thing.
It's like hockey as
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
right? Kind of, yeah.
All right. What would you say that rugby's main thing to achieve to get a future picture from the rest of the world? What should rugby do to get better in media?
Nothing. I think nothing right now. I mean, rugby's growing. I was watching a report, and they were saying that rugby's getting more popular.
Right.
It is spreading, but like I think it's stupid for rugby to think that we could ever get really, really close to football. I mean, there's no point to it.
No.
But it is getting bigger in like Africa and actually Asia. There's a lot of rugby there.
Should be a huge sport. There is a lot of people there.
Yeah.
So it should be growing.
So they absolutely love it actually, and then teams like Brazil are getting in Spain. So rugby's growing, but every sport can say that. So.
Right.
You said that you play in Enköping. But what is the ERK, or what's the name in short name? Also, like you have on the shirt.
Yeah, it's just Enköping Rugby Club.
You just say you don't use the free
Letters.
That we can cut off.
No. We just say Enköping Rugby Club.
Okay.
We don't say okay.
What would you say that you, if you don't involve your children in this answer, what would you say that you will do in, we say in 10 years?
Who knows?
What you want to do?
What I want to do is, I really want to travel.
Right.
Obviously it's harder now with kids, but I want to. So when I came to Europe, I done a lot of traveling because I was by myself. So during the off season, I traveled around Europe. The only 2 countries that I haven't been, well, just one really, is Italy, and I haven't been to. I've been to Mallorca and that, but that's not really Spain or anything. So, just want to travel with my kids.
Right. For the ending, I have a few questions.
Yeah.
What is the first word you learn in Swedish? Because I have meet a lot of Swedish, American, or we can take any country. There is a few words they always heard when they come to Sweden.
My first word I learned in Sweden was fika.
Yes.
I know. I literally. So when I got to Sweden, because it's not professional and stuff, I started working, and then I was working in Stockholm, and then there was 11 o'clock. Fika! What's fika? It's like, no, actually it's in the morning. You turn up to work, so I turned up to work 7 o'clock, and back home, if you say you start at 7, start at 8 o'clock, like you start working, so you're there at 15 minutes to 7, and then like 7 o'clock, that's it. You know, the power tools are going and you're working. I get here and it's like 7 o'clock and people are making their coffee. I'm like, what's going on here? And then I was like, shouldn't we work? And they took about, 15 minutes or something, and then like, right, let's go. And then they went and started working. I was like, it was a Monday, so I thought, maybe it's a Monday thing. Mm-hmm. Tuesday, same thing. And I said, what are we doing? It's like, it's fika. You've got to have so the 2 things I learnt early on was you got to have your coffee, and then that's the most important thing. Yep. And you got to have fika. Yep. Like you can't work through fika, because sometimes when I'm at work, I'm like, I'm not hungry. I can have it in 2 hours or something, and people are like, no, it's the law. Like, what? Stop.
You need to take a fika
so I was like,
break.
okay, sit down, and then having a fika. I was like,
So it's coffee and fika, and then
fika.
Work.
Yeah, and then work. So that's the number one thing. Because I'm a sneaker, so all the guys, if there's no coffee, then they're not going to work. It's so funny.
And your English, have it ever become a problem in Sweden for you? A lot of people can English.
Yeah. So that's it's a bit of a problem, really. I think, because when I was in France, after 6 months, I could like communicate, like really, because no one speaks what they say. No one speaks English. So after 6 months, I could be like, salut, bonjour, qu'est-ce que tu fais le weekend? Like this, like really not, but they can. But
basic.
3 years, and I'm like, fika.
Fika.
Yep.
Yeah. But I've heard other people say that you don't need really to learn Swedish.
When
you do.
Basic things like when I was in France, their TV was translated to French, so you're constantly hearing it, and then so there's a rhythm to every language. The French is very like bonjour, comme tu ça va, like this. So if you hear the rhythm, you can pick it up. But I watch TV and it's like subtitles.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. And then my mother-in-law, she speaks like immaculate English, so I'm like, just speak English with her. So yeah, it's a bit of a, and I'm just being lazy if I'm honest sometimes because it's too easy.
Do you want to stay here with your family, or do you want to get back to New Zealand? And I think from my point of view, Sweden is very cold. So if I were to
move back and forth, maybe summer here, summer there. Of course. I don't know. I would love my kids to see my culture, because I was brought up in New Zealand, but I was born in Samoa, South Pacific. So I would love them to see like my part of the family, but. Who knows? We never know.
How long is the trip?
So me and Egon went a couple of years ago, and we left Orlando, went to Amsterdam, Hong Kong, Auckland. So from when we left our door to when I got to my mum's house, it was there was a delay, so maybe 36 hours.
Whoa.
So, but in terms of flying, say from Amsterdam to Hong Kong, it was 12 hours straight, and then there's the layover, and then from Hong Kong to Auckland is another 12 hours. So she's pretty long. She's a pretty long flight.
Is that where your family is right now, Auckland or?
Wellington.
Wellington.
So they're in the centre, the capital. So, yeah.
You have to say to them that you have been on a pod.
Yeah, I will.
They can listen to it.
Yeah.
Make sure that whole New Zealand hear it.
I'll spread the word. My brother he's a TV presenter back home, so
that's good.
Yeah, he loves this type of thing.
That's
cool.
good. I have you some question for us, or why this? Why did you want to come to us?
I don't know. My mother-in-law just said.
Did she force you?
No. She was just. She said.
It felt so when we. And I have my contacts around the rugby. They say he seems to be a little bit shy. He don't want to do it.
Yeah, but it's always. Yeah, you'd be like, oh, okay, why me? But no, she just said, oh, you don't have to do it. But they were willing. They were wondering if you could do it. I was like, oh yeah, okay. So I just why not?
I have a question actually. I'm thinking. You said
actually,
I have a question. Yeah, not only him. I do. I have one too as well. I was just thinking, how is it to live in Sweden? You've been here for 3 years, right?
Yep. So, best country.
Yeah. I'm thinking like culture-wise, and how do you
best country.
Do you feel at home?
Yep.
Yeah.
I've lived. So New Zealand. I was brought up in New Zealand. I lived in England for 2 years, playing rugby there, and then went to France for 5 years. And then come here. So what's that? 3 different countries. Mm-hmm. Sweden, by a million yards, is the best country. An example is I got picked up in Västerås from the airport. Robin Frampton came pick me up. Sweden is so clean. Like I think a lot of Swedes they take it for granted because it's there all the time, but it's clean. Like I was in London, and it's dirty. And it's rough. It's. I was in Paris.
There is very dirty. Yeah, I have been there twice.
It's. Do you know what I mean? Like the basic stuff like that. If you don't see Sweden, you don't understand. I think. Out of all the 3 countries, 100% Sweden is by far the. It's clean. It's people are nice. People aren't out to you know, and say in a big city like London or Paddy, people tend to look out for themselves. You go to Stockholm and if you're lost, you're like, oh, excuse me, and they're like, oh yeah, the palace is just over there. Do you want me to help you? It's like, no, it's. I think you guys are just on a really just nice. Yeah, it's just I love it. I truly do love it.
That's great.
And now we're gonna end this discussion with August Chadwick. And first of all, Perny, thank you as always.
Thank you.
And August, it was a pleasure. And you was a very nice person. I was a little bit scared because they said that you was huge, and you was.
No.
And yeah, and now we're gonna say,
Hej då, Lopa.